Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Her Right Conversations with Dr. Christine Kozachuk. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Branko Tambah. He is our Evergirl Wins International Representative for Liberia. I am the founder of Every Girl Wins and also the founder of Her Right. Her Right definition is it is her right to the right to freedom and equity worldwide from birth till death. Welcome, Bronco, to the show today. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dr. Christine. Thank you.
Great. You have an initiative called the Bridge Called Civility. Tell us a little bit about that and how that works in with her right.
Well, the Bridge Cross Civility is an initiative, that focuses on empowering people from a position of being very intentional and also creating a more sustainable, way of life. Uh, as a representative of every girl win, I believe that every woman, once given the right opportunity, has the ability to be able to transform that opportunity into a more continuous and more sustainable, way that can create income or resources for their family. And women, many times we forget to understand that women are one of the more powerful, people that we have when it comes to entrepreneurship. I mean, they start from managing the home, making sure that food and resources are distributed, So entrepreneurship is not just come from the ballroom. I mean, the women I can tell you get a lot more handle on that, and it's just the issue of creating opportunity where they can understand that it's not
Mhm.
just all about family, but they have the opportunity to be able to transfer those skills into a more sustainable thing that can give them a more sustainable way of life.
Mm, that's really good. So you come from Liberia and you've lived in the United States for how long?
I would say this going to 10 years now. That was 2012. Came up
2012.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, so going there.
Okay.
So,
And you have actually helped what over 4 or 5 thousand women in entrepreneurship.
so there are a lot of different organizations that we try to partner with, to be able to help impact. There are different groups and different, groups that are involved with different things. One of the groups in Lofa there, the organization have 4,000 plus women, and the initiative doing those different country clubs and other things. So it's like using the gifts and talent that they have and using that to be able to help them, create a more sustainable way of life. And they have been successful to also get funding from some local, organization within the area to be able to help them. They have also created some other partnership with other organizations to provide services to the less fortunate or handicapped. But I'm also working with different women in different locations, even in my community. My point is, some of our people has been involved with farming and other things. So my goal is at this point, what can we do to be able to create that opportunity? And I'm working with different people in different places, all because I came from a background wherein I used to be with my mom. My dad was in school, and just seeing how much more, she was putting into the home and trying to make things work, going into the woods, I believe there's so much more potential that women get. So when you work and empower them, you are empowering a whole generation.
Mm. So Bronco, Dr. Bronco, excuse me, Dr. Bronco. He just became a doctor last month, and congratulations on that again. And you talk about your mom going into the woods, and a lot of the Western world here doesn't understand what women have to do in your country and other countries to survive. Give them a little guidance and insight on that.
So generally, in most African country, depending on the economic situation, you find family which are very impoverished, and they cannot have a formal job because they don't have formal education, and it's kind of very straightforward back home or in people that found to be into area or you know government organization. They got to be people who are already school,
Hmm.
and not much of our older generation at the time had that opportunity because the system at the time put them in a place where in women were not really allowed to rather go to formal school. They was considered the mother of the home, manage the home, while the man had opportunity to go to school. Like my dad was also in one similar situation. He was in school. That's why I spent more time with my mom, more than my dad, because when he was in school, I was there with my mom, and she has to take me with her. We got to go into the woods, find some vegetables, some fruits to bring in the town and sell, and that's how she was making a living because my dad was not working, and there was no means of income. There was no means of living. She had to do that. Sometimes we go to people places, do laundry for them, and then get some food. But she was very determined, and she knew that my dad going to learn into the technical school. It's a place called Booker Washington Institute, who have been a situation that will give them the opportunity to manage the family. But sometimes people don't understand all around the world is very to see that the opportunity we have today in other countries, the Western world, is a lot more different. There are some places women cannot don't have that kind of opportunity to do a lot of stuff. So
Mhm.
that's why it's very important that we don't take granted for opportunity we have, but then use what we have to be able to help empower other people into different places, to
Yeah,
help them fulfill the God-given goal.
absolutely. I'm going to take this moment and say hello to some of the watchers today. We got Dr. Kyra says, great to see you, powerful information. And Dr. LaDonya Yvette says, powerful impact. Impact. So tell us, Bronco, why it is so important for her right for entrepreneurship and why you decided to do it in Liberia.
Well, like bro, just to give a little bit of background, I would say I was usually born I was like 4 when I started experiencing, war. I was like 4 years of age when we started
Mhm.
experiencing civil war in that country. So in my mind, it almost like, okay, most of my youth, what I've seen were chaos, disaster, killing, and just a lot of things that were happening to people. And when I sit down and look today, I still living with that childhood memory. Even though I've had the opportunity to come up here and better myself, take care of family and friends and community, I still feel obligated. There are a lot of needs. So even it was a great honor to be a representative, for Liberia every girl win because this cannot be more clear. This connect me more to my passion and desire to empower women and children, and even the youth, because my life, this is what I grew up to be, just being with my mom and seeing the kind of skills and values and principles that she had, that in the midst of everything, you still got to be hardworking, you got to be determined, you got to, work for what you want. And she never just sit there and allow things to come to her easy. She was one of those mothers. I consider her, a hero of my whole life, and she was determined. Nothing would scare her. Uh, Even in the midst of not having enough, she was still willing to also share. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is also a legacy for her that I'm doing because I call her the humanitarian of my family. She has that background, while my dad has the more technical skill, and also call him the father of faith. So God has blessed me to put me into a family that have both, values and principles that have helped me to be who I am today.
Mhm.
And from what I've seen from my mom, my dad have helped my mom right now. She never went to school, but he taught her at home, homeschool her today. She's leading a lot of organizations. She's heading. She's speaking the church. She know how to read and write. So it just tell you the opportunity just by he going, and when he learned, he came back home. The fact that she was not in school, he helped empower her. Today, she's living her life, empowering people, leading organization, and they just tell you that when you empower, just a little bit of empowerment and training that he gave her from homeschooling, today she's leading organization, leading different initiative.
Wow, that's very powerful. Now, we all know that, the more that we train, women and young girls on entrepreneurship, that, that it improves the, the economy. So tell me how some of your projects has improved your economy in Liberia.
Well, basically what I'm doing, I think is great for the economy because when you empower people, wherein they become less reliant and dependent on government,
Mm-hmm.
tend to build them up and set them up for success. And I think in everything we do, we need to make sure we have people in power in a way where they can become less reliant on government. And we see today when people depend on government and everything is from the government or other people, you're not helping them because guess what? They keep coming back. But when people are in power, when they can be able to do something, do business, get involved with different initiatives, they are contributing one way or the other into the economy because they are gathering resources from themselves or then depending on other family members to be able to, get the resources. So that's why it's so important. Even me, that what I'm doing right now with my initiative, my goal is not just to hand somebody something, but to be able to see what are the skills and resources that you have. How can we work along with what you have to help you become more successful? Unlike in the past, people sit there and just receive, donation, just receive the gift, and we can't live that because guess what? If you continue doing that, they will always keep looking up to you as the source. And my initiative is to let people become their own source, build the capacity wherein they can be able to do their own thing.
Mm, I like that. And so we have today, let me go back to our thing. Sakoni says, making a difference, Bronco. And Mark Hatcher, he says, blessings, everyone. So I want to thank everybody today that's watching with us. And again, our guest today is Dr. Branko Tambah, and his initiative is the Bridge Called Civility. So give us a story on one of the ladies that you have worked with to ensure that it's her right with entrepreneurship in your country,
Well,
Liberia.
yeah, so as I said, there are different, group. What I've done is try to partner with people that have existing, organization. And I think when you do that, you start to avoid just duplicating things, see people from where they are, and say, okay, if this initiative fall in line with what I'm doing, I can work along to make sure what we can do and still have the vision accomplished. So even what I'm doing here, next year, I'm thinking about going to Liberia. That will be a whole other thing I'll be involved with. There are so many other organizations that I have here, women organization, youth organization. My goal is to be able to have a summit wherein we can have a dialogue, to be able to help empower people in a way wherein they can find their own callings and purpose. I've had a lot of young people who are successful right now back home. They're doing their own thing. We have three women that I recommended, to get on the U code. The reason why I'm finding these people and connecting them with resources is to help them become a steward because when we start other initiatives back home that we have to do, we need people who have had those experiences. And I've had, amazing three lady. We have Martina Brooks, we had Josh Clipper, and we have also, Pressure Livingston, who is working along with Dr. Ladanya, on the U code.
Mhm.
My goal is to build a team as much as possible, empower them. When we get on the ground and start working with the different initiatives, we have people, and all of them individually have their own stuff they are doing. Some are, different business they are doing. And I see so much future in Liberia because I can tell you what, everything of what I do here today in terms of success in construction and everything all started from back home,
Mhm.
basic skills and things. I always tell people Liberians are very great people and they are very smart people. When you give them the right tools that they need, they can transform that into becoming something brilliant.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want you to share your story of, you tell this story to myself and His Royal Highness quite often about how your community, of how when you send things, they share it.
Oh, yeah. When I came up here, being the first child for my generation to be in this place, I knew I had to do something. But prior to coming here, I lived in a community wherein I was like everybody child. We have parents who lost their kids during the war, but my family was blessed to not lose one family member. And it's a sad thing to see that you live in a community, people lose their kids and lose this. But we grew up in a community in Tottenham, wherein uh, every family was just everybody family, every kids were everybody kids. Wherein if I go out there, I do something wrong, another family see me, they discipline me before I even get home. And if I'm lucky, I get home. They don't come to let my parent know, then I'm blessed. But if not, they tell my parent I'm going to get another discipline. So that's how we came up. So when I had the opportunity and came up here in the U.S. Uh, on a permanent resident status and now a citizen of the U.S., I felt compelled to do something. But I also wanted to help my people in a way that I would not make my family a target. because most of the time, if you just focus on your people and doing something, giving people things, it creates that light that people will feel that, oh, this person has so much of this. And guess what? Then what you bring, anger, misfeeling, people start feeling jealous and you find all those things. So the fact that in my community, what I used to do every time, what I do is when I'm sending resources, even with food and things, my parent will go out there, share with every community from the church to every people. And this is thing that it's just like a way of life for us. Like, okay, this is what we have, this is what we share, because that have been one of my mom initiative. She loved doing that. And because of that, we build a family, a community family. Now today I can tell you, even when I get to the point I wanted to send a vehicle, I was afraid, like, I don't want to send a vehicle. They live in a small place, not like, obesity. And when people see that, like, oh, these people got money and they become, a threat. So I started doing this thing. Guess what? It became like a family owned. When I sent the first vehicle, went out there, small vehicle. I mean, it was just so great, and everybody felt the need because they were using that to also take people to hospital. The community found that resourceful, and I think when you build your own family surrounded around community, it's a great thing because you find
Mhm.
people that find ownership into everything you do. And quite recently, 2 months ago, I sent a bigger truck, the other construction truck I had here, which can go off road and thing. And I can tell you, we have some of those things today. You can see my mom and dad, they're all there, they're happy,
Mhm.
just seeing that. But I'm so proud because they are doing the right thing, not just taking things for themselves, but also empowering people, working along with the community to be able to help make those, resources share. And I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Don't I mean God created us not just for our own self. I believe God created us with a purpose to be able
Mhm.
to help ourselves, but also empower others.
Absolutely. You're truly a humanitarian, Dr. Branko. So when I talk about her right, not just in Liberia, what you see changes need to be made around the world for her rights?
So when I say today, just based on my own experiences, coming with my mom and seeing that, I think it's important that leaders focus more on ways that they can empower women intentionally. We see in many times people even see women as, maybe they'll not do this. I'll just give you an example here. I have a construction company here I'm working with, and usually when I put out the bid, trying to find people, I'm also giving opportunity to women. I mean, I can tell you, it was a shocking experience for me. I had the estimate, the bid, I put it out. There were a lot of guys, almost like 20, smaller company that wanted this project, and then there was one female, who step up and say, "Oh, I really need this project. I want you to give me there. I can be able to do this." And initially, when I saw, that thing click into my brain, like, "Oh, you have all the great guy with all the experiences, and you want to get to women." But I got to a point, I'm like, "Wait a minute. My whole life, I've been about empowering women.
Mhm.
I have to give her a chance. I haven't worked with her. I haven't seen this. I have to take chances with her. Wherever I come up with, I will still feel proud that I gave her a chance. So I gave her this project, and I can tell you, I was shocked and amazed because I can tell you she did extremely well and very great to my surprise. And even the owner of this project was like, "Whoa, how can she do this?" Because she managed her team. That work was done on time. It was done professionally. And I can tell you, I've never could have asked for the best result than what I got. And from that time, I started sharing with other people. And I think it's important. Forget the perception. Just give them a chance. You'll be surprised and amazed to see what women can do. Even in leadership, when you
Mhm.
put women into leadership, into position, I can tell you who better can be a better steward than a woman.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, I say never underestimate us.
hmm
Never underestimate us.
Yeah.
So, in the government arena, what government laws do you see that needs to be changed in Liberia?
I think in my country, I know they have been working on a couple of laws that will give equal opportunity to women. At this point, I don't follow more on that to see how far they have gone. But I think it's important that even in government, that they focus more on ways that they can be able to come up with policy that will give women more opportunity. And I always tell people, if you put in a position out there, give women equal opportunity in a way that they can be able to do that. You know, uh, let not keep the mindset should be changed. It shouldn't be that, oh, women, was always known to be in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just based on my own experiences, I believe when you give women an opportunity, a position, I'm telling you, you can have the best of result because they are meant to do great things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the saying go, if you give a woman, something, she can transform that into something else. It's just true, we just got to be truthful to ourselves. And I think most of the time, though, I might be frank with you, a lot of men feel threatened by the power that women have. So, and I always talk to some of my guys, listen, there's no competition. You just got to understand a woman has equal right, just like you, man. So they're not like you are above her or she is there. She has the ability. And I always tell people, even in the family, we all have gifts and talent. To be successful in the family, you got to see if the woman is good at this thing, give her that responsibility and let her play in that role. If the man is good into this, let him play that role. And I can tell you, when you balance those things, you realize you can find the great things and more things coming out of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that policy can be put into place that will be create more opportunity for women. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I always hope and pray that there will be a system that will be created to not see that, oh, women, men. When you're talking about employer, just say, employer, everybody come in there. Because when
Yeah.
you start putting those labor or women, then people start looking far beyond, oh, she might get pregnant, she might have kids, maybe she will not be regular on job. But it doesn't matter. I know women can take care of themselves. And when they put their mind to anything, they can be anything they want to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So this will be the last question. Then we're going to talk about the bridge call.
Okay.
You have daughters, right? You have two daughters, I think
Oh,
you have.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I have 4 girls.
Four girls. Oh, okay, four girls.
Mira is the
Okay.
oldest one.
Okay. What is your wish for their rights?
Well, even as a father, being in a position, I always create an opportunity that they can be able to find their true calling. It's funny that my daughter helped me a lot. She with me. She take care of all the scheduling and appointments and other things, do some management thing, even some little bit of financial portion. But then she's out there with me working.
Hmm.
Uh, so people sometimes wonder like, oh, you're doing this thing, why are you putting the game into so much? I said, no, she get her own calling. The interesting thing, she want to become a dermatologist. Well, I've
Mm,
created a situation where I told my girls, listen, you can be anything you want to be. And
mhm,
I'm teaching them at the early age to know that you can have your career, but there are a lot of other things you can do, the habits. And I'm putting them in the position wherein they can have a mind of creating multiple streams of income. You can't just get your mind set to one thing. What if this doesn't work? So like my daughter, she involved into construction thing. A couple of months, the end of this year, she will be launching her own business on
mm,
t-shirts. So I'm taking them into the different process that they can find their own purpose, but at the same time, tie their vision to the generational promise. The business we're doing is a family thing, is a generational thing. My father was a visionary. He never had the chance to make this happen. I was the child that made this possible, but I'm also sharing this thing with them that they can find ownership into it. That no matter what you do, when you align your vision with a generational promise, there's a lot of blessing that come with it. And as a Christian, I know that God gave every generation a promise. We just got to find it. And from the time I found mine, I knew that construction was something that God blessed our family with. Today, it has been more success and great things. I'm still doing what I love, like getting into nonprofit, getting into other things. But guess what? The business is funding, providing fees and funding for all this initiative I'm doing. So it's a great thing. So,
mm,
all right, I believe the kids have the right to be whoever they want to be. All I
mhm,
need to do as a father is just support them,
mhm.
and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that. So I want to say, hello again to our listeners. We have Dr. LaDonya again, Impact and Inspiration. And we have His Royal Highness Clyde Rivers. He says legends. And then he also says Dr. Timba, such a leader for today. And then we have Damaris, which is my assistant for Every Girl Wins, says every girl wins. So what I want to talk about is a little bit is about the bridge call, and the
Hmm.
bridge call being a part of her right also. So
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about, the bridge call, what your goals is with that, and then also tell us a little bit about what's happening with you next Saturday.
So yeah, the bridge call, as I said, having gone through all of the experiences with my mom, and and just looking around with everything happening around the world, you know, I got to a point like, there got to be a way wherein somebody can step up to answer the call to make a difference in the world, what is happening. I don't want to be one of those that just sit on the sideline and begin to point at the problem. I want to be part of the solution. So it was from there that came out the initiative, the Bridge Call initiative. And the Bridge Call, and when I look at Bridge, it's a symbol or service to people. So I want to be an instrument or tools that can be used to be able to do that. I'm in construction. So when we look at bridges today all over the world, I mean, bridge connect to cities, to great places, to everything. We need bridges to lead to everything we do. And one thing I want to say in our own personal life, we may not know it, but our life is always connected by way of bridge through a people.
Yeah.
God will always bring people into your life that will be there to take you to another level, and from there take you to another level. But I tell you, when you maintain those bridges and you honor them and you keep them, you need them not just for you, but people that will come after you. Because many a time, into relationship, people don't understand. It's important that you maintain every relationship you have is not a coincidence. There's a time and there's a purpose for that. Be a good or bad is meant to teach you something, it's meant to strengthen you, it's meant to guide you, it's meant to set you on the right path. So my initiative is to help people find their purpose by accepting and answering the call to say, okay, I'm going to step up. I want to be the one to serve as a bridge builder. So that initiative focus about identifying bridge builder, people who will be willing to be a bridge that will help connect people to people rather than people using people to get things. So, and we're going to be having this, just having people to find that because, like my own life, there have been a lot of people who have served as a bridge in my life. Even Archie Nation, that's a Christian, and His Royal Highness, and I don't forget those things. I try to keep this going, and if we can have that kind of a mindset to know that we can be a better people when we decide being answering the call to the bridge call. We see everything is happening. There's a lot of divide today. If you
Mhm.
serve as a bridge builder, you tend to connect people to people. You tend to bridge the gap. You tend to even, bridge the divide on what we're seeing today. So with my initiative that I want to be involved with, I want to be focusing more on building bridges that
Mhm.
will help bring people to people and that will help people to get to their goals rather than focusing on things that will divide people. So at this time, I'm calling on a lot of people out there to answer the call to be a bridge builder, answer the bridge call, and we can do that. I know on the 16th, I will be going on the initiative talking about that,
Mhm.
talking about some of the bridge call civility, building the capacity to, building the new capacity. So that
Mhm.
all the kind of thing, because we've seen all the different things that have happened in the past, people helping people, but with a position wherein they still look at them as the constant souls of their path. And
Yes.
what I'm saying at this time, I'm like, no, when you have to build capacity, I want to build a new capacity wherein you empower people,
Mhm.
wherein they become less reliant on you. I
Right.
don't want you to be the souls that will always be in the life and having that sale. Build them up that they can be on their own and just go on.
Mhm.
And you can take the glory, but many a time I think people try to just focus on what in people will always look up to them and don't let it's hard to let people go, but you have to do that if you want the best out of them. So that is why I'm focusing more about just building people capacity. And when you do that, you setting out legacy that
Yes.
will live on and on when you are out of this world.
Yes, absolutely. And you talk about, capacity and capacity in people that comes with her rights. Also,
Mhm.
we have to have, the understanding of, that it is her right, that we are human, just like a male is human, and that we deserve to create the life that we deserve, in this world. So,
Mhm.
Dr. Branko, you are having your first Facebook Live next week on the Bridge Call. So,
Mhm.
people, connect with him, tune in next Saturday on that. I'm very excited for that. So,
Yeah.
any last remarks before we close?
Well, I just want to say thanks to everybody who is watching out there, and and those who just listening to me. Just it's truly an honor, and I just want to share with you that wherever you are, be it in your community, I
Hmm.
want you to think about this and try to answer the call, the bridge call. We are in the time wherein we need more bridge builder, rather than, working and listening to media and things. I believe there are a lot of good people than bad people. And we today have the opportunity to be able to answer this call. to help people fulfill their God-given potential. Let be the change, the world needs and the hope the world wants. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I want to thank everyone today for watching Her Right Conversations with Dr. Christine and our guest, Dr. Branko Tambah. Go to herright.net, that's herright.net, and sign the proclamation. That proclamation will help us with, going to government and sharing our voices to assure that, that women and young girls and girls around the world, they get the access that they want to entrepreneurship, creating their own economy, their medical education. So go there and sign that to assure that you're using your voice for her right. Thank you.
Thank you.